Given that it's been over a year since the last installment in this long-running series of mine, I figured now would be a better time than any to figuratively hang the virtual warning corpse out for anybody who's thinking of leaving inane comments on my videos. What do I mean? Basically, comment at your own peril, because if you say something stupid, you may end up publicly humiliated like this goober. Welcome to Stupid YouTube Comments number 6, Hypocritical Hysterics. Today's stupid comment, or thread rather, is not one that demonstrates specific wrongness in points or horrendous spelling or grammar, but rather how not to conduct yourself on the internet. Use this guy as an example of how not to behave in discussions, unless your intention is to look like a selfish, self-important, passive-aggressive wanker, in which case, by all means. It's safe to say that I was forged by the internet. I began using the internet at a fairly young age, and as such, I'm good at navigating the internet properly. I know what to say, how to treat people, how to debate, and when to step back and leave it. What's important to this knowledge is an understanding of how the internet differs from real life, and reading people on the internet to know what they're gonna do or how they'll react. This is a skill I've developed, evidenced by the fact that I screen capped this thread because I knew it was gonna go bye-bye. Before we dive into the comment, let me preface something that will largely be the point of discussion in this video. I'm sure I've said this before, and I'm confident most of you were smart enough to figure this out on your own, but evidently a lot of people don't get it, so I'm just gonna explain it very simply. The internet is not a safe space. It's the virtual Wild West. If you're not savvy or don't like being challenged, criticized, mocked, insulted, or sworn at, don't go on the fucking internet. If you don't like that, too bad. They're called your problems for a reason. Deal with them. So let's run through this nonsense. Still haven't gotten a response to my Black Ops 3 comment. You asked for reasons and explanations, and I gave them to you. Instead of admitting I was right or trying to debunk what I said, you just ignored it. Way to go, mate. First of all, is that not one of the most passive-aggressive comments you've ever read? This guy seems to be genuinely upset that he didn't get a response to his comment. For context, this guy was referring to a comment he left on a video weeks ago. When I first read the response, I didn't even remember who he was or what he was talking about. I didn't have a clue. That alone should be evidence enough to justify my response, which I thought was quite witty, not to toot my own horn. Yeah, I'm just sat here all day reading comments. I'm never doing anything else. I didn't even see your comment. I get a lot of notifications. Sometimes I miss things. I'll go back and look for it. Fairly sarcastic and snarky, but I found that to be an overall fairly innocent response. I didn't name call or insult him at all. I just made a joke out of his comment because it was stupid. I don't check my notifications anymore. I just look at my comments tab, which means things will inevitably be missed. I get a lot of comments. I talk to people on Twitter. I talk to people on Steam messaging, and I don't have an infinite amount of time to check comments. And I'm not here looking at them all the time. I miss things. It happens. It's normal. But this response was apparently so bad that I got this gem of a comment. I actually read this to somebody else in preparation for this video, and they could not stop laughing. It was that funny and sad. Okay, that sealed the deal. You responded to me first demanding that I explain myself. I wrote that the BO2 campaign was shitty, just like in Black Ops 3. I then give you an explanation, and somehow you missed that. Yeah, that would be the most logical answer. It's not like I'm ducking you. I literally said I would look for the thread and respond to you. That's not the reaction of someone who's avoiding a debate. If I really wanted to avoid a debate, I would just block you. He continues, don't bother, I don't even want a response anymore. That totally reasonable reaction. I ducked you, and now that I've confronted you, all of a sudden, you don't even want a response. You just want to assume victory. The fact that you responded to this comment all sarcastic is more than enough. More than enough. Could you imagine if someone called this guy a prick? He'd probably have a nervous breakdown. You don't sit here all day reading comments. It's been a week, buddy. That's my thing, pal. You can't steal that. And ironically, you responded to my first comment in which I criticized your view in less than 24 hours. So it's impossible I just so happen to be reading comments at that time of day. That's just not possible anymore. Okay, that's logical. You got all defensive and demanded an explanation and reasons. I didn't demand anything or get defensive. I'd show you, but he deleted the thread, which just goes to show how much I hurt his feelings. I did exactly that, and you didn't respond for 2 fucking weeks. Yeah, get angry. Get angry. Some guy on the internet who gets dozens of comments daily didn't respond. What a dick, right? Here we are. No, here you are. Again, me criticizing you, and magically you respond in less than 24 hours with some sarcastic bullshit. It's not really magical. I was reading comments at this time. I saw your comment and I responded. It's not exactly Merlin level stuff, is it? Fuck you. Yeah, that's a totally proportionate response. I was sarcastic to your passive aggressive and, let's be honest, rude comment, and you tell me to fuck myself. I came back at him with a response, but I don't really need to run through it since it's more or less what I'm saying in this video. I'll leave it on the screen momentarily if you want to read it though. No doubt you're thinking to yourself, Fringy, this hardly seems like the worst kind of tripe you receive on a weekly basis. And in many ways, you're right. This guy's not retarded. Well, not retarded at face level. He can clearly write properly, and he has at least a modicum of a clue as to what he's talking about in his initial comment on my Black Ops 3 video. Not sure about his response since he made it impossible for me or anybody else to even read it. My issue with this guy is that he represents an attitude very common among clowns on the internet, especially the ultra-progressive left. He's allowed to be a prick, but the second I do something even remotely mocking, he flips out. Seriously, do you think the first comment was even slightly rational? And even if you do, you have to agree that that response was absolutely ridiculous. A sarcastic remark is enough for him to flip out and act like I'm the dick, I'm the bad guy, even though he deleted his comments, making it entirely impossible for me to respond, negating the whole point of prodding me about it in the first place. And he says, fuck you to me, while making me out to be the asshole, as if my reaction came out of nowhere or was even remotely cruel. Look at his first comment. Does he not come across as a bit of a dick in this comment? This is what I mean. You can't provoke someone, get a harsh response, or in this case, one you didn't want, and go, oh, what are you getting mad at me for? I didn't do anything, herpa-derpa. You can't just conveniently ignore what you initially said and act like the response came out of a vacuum. Let me clarify what I'm trying to say with an example. If this guy said, hey, Fringy, I was talking to you on Black Ops 3 on a different video, I was kind of hoping to get a response. I wouldn't have been sarcastic to him. I would have said something along the lines of, sorry I missed that, things slipped through the cracks, I'll go look for it. I ask you, do you believe I would have been sarcastic if that was a comment? Genuinely. I mean, you see how I talk to you guys in the comments, I'm very respectful. I would say no. Why? Because it would be irrational for me to respond sarcastically. It would come out of nowhere. This is just basic social escalation. Actions net reactions. More to the point, rational people react rationally and therefore proportionately based on your actions. If you ask a normal question, most people will give you a normal answer. If you ask an invasive question of someone, you'll get a different, more hostile reaction. If you punch someone in the jaw, they'll probably beat the shit out of you. And if after the fact, you bitch that you got your ass beat, it is you who is the moron. You can't ignore the first action because the reaction is correlated directly with the action. A child can understand this. I think that's enough explanation. If you don't get this, like this guy, no amount of explaining will remedy that. But really, I'm sure most of you got it because this is very simple. Allow this guy to be an example of how not to act on the internet. Namely, don't be a smug, hypocritical, self-important twat.